As tourists stroll through Charleston, soaking in its beauty and hospitality, it's easy to forget the darker chapters that unfolded here. The story of the enslaved in Charleston, from the shores of Africa to the auction block of the slave mart to the plantations that surround the bustling downtown. But many of the plantations have now transformed into places of learning and taking in lush landscapes.
We are in the heart of the plantation district here in the Lowcountry at Magnolia Plantation and Gardens, just 12 miles from historic downtown Charleston.
Every corner at Magnolia Plantation and Gardens tells a story of resilience, beauty, and the enduring connection between humans and nature.
We have history, horticulture, nature.
For centuries, this land was home to rice plantations, where enslaved Africans and their descendants played an important role in shaping the landscape and culture of the Lowcountry.
We have lost a lot of our records, so our list of the named enslaved is not as expansive as we would like it to be, but we do have the name of about 150 enslaved people here over the lifetime of the property.
And at the end of the Civil War, the plantation's owner
didn't have that free labor anymore. He had to pay his enslaved workers who are now freed.
Now that history is being passed on through the From Slavery to Freedom tour, where visitors are introduced to the living conditions of the enslaved.
We have 4 restored cabins and 1 partially restored cabin. So in one room, which wasn't very wide, less than 10 feet long, you would have an entire family sleeping in there. The cabins actually go on the journey from slavery to freedom, so they represent 4 different time periods.
And the rice fields? They are now thriving ecosystems for wildlife and horticulture.
These would have been old-growth swamp. Any of the enslaved that were on these plantations, they had to cut down every massive cypress tree, every big tupelo. They would have to level out the field to actually be able to grow the rice. It was extremely deadly. You're encouraging mosquito habitat, so malaria was rampant.
James Wilson is the ecologist on this nearly 500-acre property.
We are literally in a swamp.
As soon as you walked onto the boardwalk, you are in the swamp.
Visitors flock to the winding pathways.
All around us are tupelo trees. Normally during the winter, it looks a little more barren out here, but everything's starting to come to life.
It's so beautiful out here. There's so much to see.
Spotting and photographing everything from native birds to alligators.
Gators are definitely the biggest of the reptiles that you'll end up seeing. They're very common, a big treat for most people that do visit the area. Now we're in a very busy time with birds. Currently, there's a lot that are nesting. It looks like a condominium on the trees.
One of the things that sets Magnolia apart from surrounding plantations,
We're in bloom 365 days a year.
the gardens.
At the end of the Civil War, the owner at the time was land rich and cash poor, and the gardens were growing. So in 1871, Magnolia opened as an excursion up the Ashley. It was $1.25 to hop on a steamboat down in the harbor, come up the Ashley River here to Magnolia to take a tour of the gardens, and we've been open ever since.
With Spanish moss dangling from the treetops and pops of vibrant color at every turn, stealing the show are the pink snapdragons dotting the landscape. And the magnolia trees are just beginning to bloom.
We are a historic romantic garden, which you don't often find outside of England. We are one of the oldest in the United States, and when you're walking through the gardens, you're never quite sure what you're going to come across when you turn that corner.
Like wedding photos on one of the garden's bridges. Preserving places like Magnolia for future generations is something that Gibbs says is crucial.
If we lose a site like this, then you're losing so much history that often isn't taught in the classroom, especially here in the Southeast. You're losing that conversation about what life would have been like for those men and women who were living and working on this property. They were in the rice fields, they were cultivating the gardens, they were maintaining the gardens, and you're losing that history just as much as you're losing the history of the landscape here.
The Spanish moss hangs on all the trees, but we're told it really doesn't do too much damage. James says it's actually more closely related to a pineapple than it is to moss. They say Spanish moss got its name because it resembled some of the beards of Spaniards back when Spanish colonists were in South Carolina.